I think some people might think, okay, if I was going to do a walk in New York, I would make sure to visit every city, every place that's a designated city historical landmark. And that's what I want to see in New York, and that's the lens that I'll see New York through. And for me, I didn't have that. I didn't have any particular focus. And so fortunately, again, kind of by happenstance, I didn't have a focus because, I don't know, I'm not a focused person. But it just really opened up the city to me because I wasn't thinking of things in terms of like, okay, there's an important building here I need to make sure to get a lot of good photos of. It was just like, I don't know what's here. Oh, that's cool. I'll take a picture of that thing. And a lot of times that thing was like a flower or a leaf. And so I just wanted to know what that plant was, and through that, I learned about some edible plants I didn't know about. Now I'm like, oh, look, I can eat that thing over there, or like, I know what kind of tree this is now. And so it was nothing more than just that kind of general curiosity about the place where I was, which was just really fostered by not having a focus, by not having highlights, and just by being a human in a place with nothing going on in his life other than to look around. That's just all. The only thing I could do to prevent myself from wanting to jump off a roof was appreciate where I was. That's all I had going for me. So it just opened everything up to me, down to like things that grow in sidewalk cracks in New York City. Every aspect of what you're seeing is something phenomenal. I mean, a plant growing out of a sidewalk crack, like, sit there and think about that. It's like it's nature's solar panel growing out of this tiny little crevice in this thing humans built to keep out plant life. That somehow enough organic matters landed in that crack over the years, and enough nutrients are there for this thing. The seed is landed there, and this like thing takes the sun and turns that into mass. And like, my God, that's an incredible thing, And so if there's that much going on with a plant growing out of a sidewalk crack, like, just imagine how much there is on a single block in New York City.
Yeah, and an interesting contrast from this built environment, this city that's famous for its built environment, versus the very persistence of nature.
Yeah,
you walked a lot with Jeremy, the filmmaker. Did that it's one thing to walk the city alone. When you were walking followed by a camera, did that change the energy of your journey across the city?
Yeah, I mean, at first it definitely did. A couple other people who, like, I met at a party or something, they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, I do some filmmaking. Like, maybe I could come follow you around. And that always felt weird to me. Like, I thought that would kind of change things too much. But, I'd had people walk with me at different points. For a friend would be off work one day and would want to come walk with me, or like occasionally someone from another country would be visiting New York, and I think they'd Google like walking in New York, looking for some walking route, and they'd find my website and email me. And so like some guy from Brazil would spend all day walking around, some neighborhood in the middle of Queens with me.
Cool. Which
is like an awesome way to spend like one of your few days on vacation in New York, doing this, seeing this place that almost no New Yorkers go to. So anyway, that had kind of showed me the value of having other people with you, even though it did kind of take away from my own attentiveness to what's around me. Kind of like when I was mentioning with the walking group, having other people around is also bringing their own insights into what you're seeing. And as much as I've learned to observe things now, all it takes is walking with another person to remind you how little you're aware of. I've spent years and years just doing nothing other than paying attention in New York City. And yet a friend will come walk with me and be like, oh, what's that thing? I'm like, oh, I've never noticed that before in my life. And they'll tell me something about it because, it's something they know about or something they've experienced. Or they're like, oh, I think it's like this other thing I know about. And it reminds you of how much bigger even a single block is than anything you could contain in your own brain.